In the year 476 AD, the administrative backbone of the Western world fractured. The logistics networks, the engineering guilds, and record-keeping systems that maintained centuries of infrastructure dissolved almost overnight. We can still see the physical cost of that collapse today. Look at these standing Corinthian columns of the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum. They are the shattered remnants of a massive, standardized grid of aqueducts, basilicas, and roads that simply stopped being built. When those construction grids failed, the applied sciences went dormant. Mathematical treatises and engineering blueprints were buried in isolated monasteries or completely lost, leaving a vacuum where innovation used to be. For hundreds of years, human societies focused strictly on basic survival. Losing the Roman administrative engine pushed the clock back on metallurgy, sanitation, and mechanics by nearly a millennium. But imagine if that timeline fractured. Picture an alternate late empire where engineers took the aioli pile, a basic Roman toy that spun using heated water, and successfully harnessed it to capture and vent high-pressure steam. In our history, the empire's vast size became its weakness. Orders took weeks to reach the frontiers, and logistics couldn't keep pace with the costs of defense. But with steam-driven communication and heavy-haul transport, the central administration can maintain a direct grip on its provinces. This mechanical leap creates an economic surplus that buys the loyalty of the border legions, insulating the state from the decay that triggered the Dark Ages. In this timeline, the empire never faces ruins. Engineering outpaces the invading armies, and Rome masters the mechanics of time and scale. To make steam engines practical, Roman mechanics require precise calculations for pressure and volume. They pull from the Archimedean synthesis, applying the classical geometry and physics formalized by the Greek mathematician Archimedes centuries earlier, directly to metal boilers. This animated schematic demonstrates how that applied physics alters the empire. By the year 1000 AD, steam-driven pumps augment the aqueduct system. Instead of relying purely on gravity, mechanical pressure forces water uphill, multiplying agricultural yields and powering vast mechanized grain mills. To put that timeline in perspective, look at the United States Capitol building. Its democratic institutions wouldn't be conceived for another 8 centuries, while alternate Rome lays down iron railways. Pushing an industrial revolution into the early Middle Ages shifts human progress from a slow crawl to a vertical climb. By 1492, the empire has spent nearly 1,000 years stacking compounding technological advancements. Because their overland logistics are heavily mechanized, the Romans ignore deep-sea naval exploration entirely and point their resources upward. Instead of crossing the Atlantic, liquid-fueled Roman rockets break the atmosphere. In the year Columbus sailed, Roman astronauts touched down on the lunar surface. That puts a Roman flag on the moon 977 years before Neil Armstrong ever suited up for Apollo 11. Because their economic expansion is focused on orbit, the empire has no incentive to conquer across the Atlantic. When they finally map the Americas, they establish strictly economic trade routes with the indigenous empires, buying raw materials to fuel the space program. Uncapped technological growth allows Rome to skip the violent era of global colonization, funneling all that industrial output directly into the cosmos. Bring that compounding math into the year 2026. The Roman state manages a unified, globally connected population of 4 billion citizens, all operating under a single legal and administrative code. Their massive off-world presence is permanently established. By 1987, sprawling glass-domed infrastructure crawls across the Martian landscape, housing generations of scientists and engineers who have never set foot on Earth. In this 2026, the state controls all planetary energy and infrastructure. Because every city on Earth shares a single integrated power grid and a single orbital defense network, the cost of civil war is prohibitive. The administration has engineered a system where the benefits of participating in the global economy far outweigh the return on any possible armed revolt. There are absolutely no trenches in Europe. There are no shrapnel-torn helmets or global death tolls from the First and Second World Wars. Tens of millions of lives are spared, contributing their labor and intellect back into the empire. Rome's unbroken survival engineered a peaceful, multi-planetary human civilization. But maintaining a single, unbreakable chain of authority for 2,000 years requires strict conformity. We have to look at what was quietly erased to maintain that perfect stability. Look at this map. When one empire dictates language, laws, and religion, it creates a monoculture. Diverse local traditions are absorbed by Roman standardization. The visual data goes sterile. Without competing nations, there is no Renaissance, no Enlightenment, and distinct modern nations never form. The empire achieved perpetual peace only by extinguishing thousands of unique human languages, local identities, and divergent ways of thinking. This leaves us with a stark historical ledger. On one side, interstellar expansion and the elimination of global war. On the other, the absolute death of global diversity. If you could flip a switch and trade every distinct culture on Earth for a guarantee of lasting, unified peace, would you pull the lever? Rome engineered a path to the stars, but securing that eternal empire cost us the world we actually know.